power.
Good morning. Let me share a quote by Misty Copeland that is very popular in Thailand. Lerm ton ti mai rujak, job ti na jot jam, which means start unknown, finish unforgettable. To our school's division superintendent, Dr. Edilberto Leonis Oplinaria Cecil 5, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Rosemary Tolod Macesar, to the two chiefs of the functional divisions, Dr. Maria Carmela Tumpong Ablin of SGOD and Dr. Maria Eva Sairi Idon of the CID. Education Program Supervisor and Division Sports Coordinator, Dr. Arlene D. Manginsay. Administrative Officer 5, Armando B. Paso. Division Section Heads and Personnel. Public Schools District Supervisors. School Administrators. Coaches. Teachers. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To start our webinar, let us sing the Philippine National Anthem to be followed by a doxology and the singing of the Lanao del Norte hymn. Once again, a pleasant morning to each and every one of us. We're virtually gathered for this webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic. Please be reminded of our virtual etiquette for virtual conferences like this one. Dress appropriately, be aware of your surroundings and minimize distractions. Mute your microphone when you're not talking and speak up only when allowed. Stay seated and stay present. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to formally welcome us all in this virtual event, here is our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent. Let's all welcome Dr. Rosemary Tolod Masesar.
Okay, a happy Monday to all of us. Oh, sorry. So, a happy Thursday to all of us. I'm very happy that we are having this webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst the pandemic. But before that, of course, I would like to greet all the people who are in this webinar, most especially our beloved Schools Division Superintendent, Sir Edelberto L. Oplinaria, sir, and of course our Chief of the SGOD, Ma'am Maria Carmela T. Ablin, ma'am, our Chief of the CID, Ma'am Eva Edon, and our in charge for this webinar, Ma'am Arlene Manginsay, and the rest of the SGOD and CID families, of course, the participants to this webinar, and most especially our beloved speakers, um, Sir Jerry F. Krausus, and my good friend, uh, Dr. Marvic B. Tolito, the Supervising Education Program Specialist from the Bureau of Learner Support Services from the central office. And so with Sir Jerry Krausus. So once again, a happy Thursday to all of us. So I'm very happy that we have this webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic because, you know, um, during these times, it is very important for us to indulge in sports because it is one of those things that will strengthen our immune system. That we will exercise and that we will not just sit down and relax and not do anything physically, but we must do that because at this time we really need to exercise, especially since most of our activities are done inside already our offices, and we don't go out of our places of work anymore because of this pandemic. So even if we are inside our offices, we need to move around, walk every now and then, so that we will all be healthy. And by the way, part of our self discipline is to maintain at least one physical activity, specifically a sport. You choose one, and that will really make you healthy, not just physically, but including mentally, psychologically. As you know, there are exercises that will really trigger the happy hormones. So that is why there is really a need for us to indulge in sports. And since we have some equipments in our office, we have a mini gym there. We might as well activate our health program by setting aside a time wherein we can exercise at least 30 minutes every day within the office. But if you can do it outside office hours, like indulge in a sport that you are interested in, like tennis or basketball, even by yourself or with your brother or somebody who's close to you. But of course, um, maintaining physical or social distancing, by all means do that. So anyway, so I would like to thank the SGOD headed by Dr. Ablin for coming up with this webinar, and of course the one in charge of this one, Ma'am Arlene, because this will really be useful and helpful to our um, participants, our colleagues in the office. And of course, I would like to thank also and congratulate in advance our speakers, Sir Jerry Krausus, who's also a good friend and a fellow Iliganon. Um, Thank you for accepting our invitation to be our speaker for this webinar. And of course, Dr. Marivic Tolito, ma'am, I miss you. So I hope to see you later on your during your talk, even virtually. We will be seeing each other. So thank you, and all the other speakers that we have until tomorrow. We have also Sir Raymond, the chief of our HRDD in the region. So thank you. And of course, I will not forget our schools division superintendent for being so supportive in all our endeavors in the division office. But anyway, so welcome to this activity, and may you give your, again, I always emphasize this, more than 100% attention, like 150% of your attention to this webinar today and tomorrow. But before I will go, can I just read one of those things that I read in my timeline under the memory section, daily habits that will change your life. So I hope that you will listen. Daily habits that will change your life. 1 hour exercise. You don't have to do it straight, but you can do it like 15 minutes, every 15 minutes or 30 minutes, 30 minutes, like what I usually do before. And then 2 liters of water, 3 cups of tea, 4 colors on the plate, meaning to say, when you eat, at least there will be 4 colors of the food that you will eat, like green leafy vegetables, um, red colored fruits, for example, like melon, then basta 4 colors on your plate. Then of course 5 minutes of meditation. So you don't have to know yoga, but you can just keep quiet and keep still at least for 5 minutes. Then of course 6 songs that motivate you. You think of 6 songs a day that will motivate you. And of course, 7 minutes of laughter. In the SGOD office, you have more than enough of 7 minutes of laughter because they're always laughing there. Then, of course, 8 hours of sleep. I hope all of us um, can do this. 8 hours of sleep, 9 pages of a book for us to be updated and for us to be mentally stimulated. We need to read at least 9 pages of a book. And then, of course, the last is 10 reasons to be thankful. Every day at the end of the day before you go to sleep, think of 10 reasons to be thankful for the day. So it's actually true even if you choose one or two of these. So I hope that we will make these 10 daily habits a part of our life so that we will all be physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. and that would be part of our self-discipline. Of course, we should integrate sports as part of this self-discipline. So thank you, and God bless us all. Uh, Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mom Rose, for that meaningful message, and thank you for imparting some experiences and knowledge to us through that message. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Rosemary Tolod Masesser. At this juncture, we're going to call the roll of the participants for this webinar, and to do the honors, here is Ma'am Lunella Tata Buhawe.
Thank you so much, Sir John. You may wonder why I'm using the account of our schools division superintendent, because this laptop, when I on this, it's automatically on to the account of our schools division superintendent. Well, anyway, now may I check the attendance who are online on this webinar on sports. As of yesterday at 5:20 p.m., we have a total of 310 expected participants of 310 who's registered in the link. And for this 310, we have one from private school teacher from Christ the King College of Maranding. Then others may have the online on live streaming in YouTube, and some registered here or online on this MS Teams. So may I start now to call by event? Okay, if your event will be called, kaway-kaway lang sa kamay. Okay, can I start now? Sir Jong, nadungog ko, Sir Jong.
Yes, Ma'am Tata, you are
okay.
You're heard.
Okay, archery. Registered here is Sir Edwin Birondo and Sir Alvin Perez. Are they online? Hello? Hello? Marag wala lagi, Sir John.
Yes, Ma'am Tata.
Dungog baka ko nila, Sir John, no?
Yes, Ma'am.
Sir Edwin and Sir Alvin Perez.
Ma'am Tata, some are watching through YouTube.
Okay, sir. So I will continue. Arnis, yes, we have 4. Athletics, 26. Badminton, we have 49 registered. Baseball, 3. Basketball as a team, and basketball on 3-on-3, we have 8. Billiard, 1 from Placida Miquiabas. Boxing, 3. Chess, 10. Dance sports, 1. Football, 2. Futsal, 1. Gymnastics, 6. Sipak takraw, 4. Softball, 5. Special events or para games, special events, 3, and para games, 1. Swimming, 9. Table tennis, 15. Taekwondo, 5. Lawn tennis, 2. Volleyball, 27. Wrestling, 1. Wushu, 2. A total of 190. Others watching live stream in YouTube. So total of 190, and others who the other one is 120. They registered but they don't identify their events. So expected participants of 310. Okay, thank you, Sir John.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Tata. Again, that's our ADAS 3 of our division, Ma'am Lunella Tata Buhawe. Thank you so much. For those who are streaming online through YouTube, kindly comment your name, your position, or your event, and your school. Again, if you're watching us live stream through YouTube, kindly write your name and your event and your school. Thank you so much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have this privilege to listen to a message coming from our schools division superintendent. Let's all welcome Dr. Edilberto Leones Oplinaria, Cecil 5.
Good morning, Jungjong. Thank you so much. My due respect to our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Rosemary Tolod Mazizar, our Chief of the School Governance and Operations Division. Jungjong, can I be heard, Jong? Jungjong? Jungjong, can I be heard? Madunggan ko, Jong.
Yes, sir. Madungog, sir.
Okay. Once again, I have to do my morning greetings to our Assistant School Division Superintendent, Dr. Rosemary Tolod Mazizar, our Chief of School Governance and Operations Division, Dr. Maricar T. Ablin, who is the first person for this training, our Chief of Curriculum Implementation Division, Dr. Maria Iba Sairi Idon, all schools district supervisors in attendance, all education program supervisors in attendance, school heads, elementary and secondary, coaches of the different events, our facilitators to the training of which I was informed. We have invited speakers outside of our division, and I'm so grateful for all of them. I might be able to name their names during the closing program, but nonetheless, if they are now listening, I am so thankful to all of you, sir, ma'am, for spending your time with us in the Department of Education Division of Lanao del Norte. I'm so glad that the School Governance and Operations Division, through our Education Program Supervisor, Dr. Arlene Manginsay, came up with this idea on webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic. When this training was first proposed to me, the initial reaction I gave to Dr. Manginsay was, is it really necessary at the time? Given that the central office have canceled all the sports activities because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And then Dr. Manginsay showed me some documents proving that even if we are in the this COVID-19 pandemic, we can still go on with our sports activities even if there is no physical interaction. The point then is our coaches, our trainers should be updated with the latest in the respective events, and in whatever aspect of the sports they need to be updated to keep abreast, and if possible continue to do their workouts and any other activities, because there is what we call the low abuse and disuse. Contrary to other, not contrary, but almost the same with all the learning activities that we have. That low abuse and disuse is always true. Because whenever you learn a skill for the first time, and then you apply it for the second time, third time, fourth time, and then one day you opted to stop practicing it, then chances are you might lose the memory, you might lose the competence that you have already gained with that activity. The same with the sport. No? If you're a good swimmer and then you stop swimming, then chances are your skill of swimming so fast might be decreased a little. I mean, it may not be totally, but there is what we call that degradation of your performance. Degrade, no? Delete na ma-upgrade. The same with other sports activities. Now, given that we have no physical interaction with our athletes this time, but as coaches, as trainers, we need to continue our learning of the sports events that we are involved in. That is why it is necessary that we have to continue learning even if we are in this COVID-19 pandemic. I personally uh, approve the conduct of this training because I have sensed the importance of this. And I was also fully convinced when Dr. Maricarti Ablin and Dr. Manginsay showed me some instructions from the central office that there is no stopping in sports. We have to continue. Okay? Especially that nowadays, we need to be physically able, physically fit, to make our immune system as stronger because this is what we need to combat this COVID-19 pandemic. So, my dear friends, I should not talk much because our time is allotted for our speakers. The only thing I can say is let us have our 100% attention to this training, like what our Assistant School Division Superintendent a while ago said, that if possible we have our 150% attention to this training, then we'll do it because we spend time and effort for this training, and I want all of you to be benefited with this. So, we can only be benefited with this if all of you will listen intently and learn everything that our speakers are dishing out to us. And also, there is no stop in learning. According to our secretary, education must continue. So we have to continue. We will continue the education of our children, our learners, the same way that we have also to continue our education as educators, because we cannot give what we do not have. That is a basic rule. We cannot give what we do not have. So let us equip ourselves with the skill, important skills, and important know-how in the various sports events that we are involved, and should time will return back to its normalcy, like the COVID-19 pandemic is already over, then that's the time that what we learn today will be put into use, and with that I can expect a better performance and a fruitful execution of our sports plan in the division of Lanao del Norte. Once again, my warmest congratulations to our facilitators in advance, our trainers, to all of you, our people from the School Governance and Operations Division headed by Dr. Maricarti Ablin, to all of you, our facilitators, speakers, my heartfelt thanks, and to all of you, wish you luck. Jung Jung, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that's our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Edilberto Leones Oplinaria. I do agree with you, sir, that when many of us are very restricted in our movements in this pandemic, we still have to continue with our exercises as well as our sports. Thank you so much, sir. And now, to formally introduce our speaker for our first input of the day, here is our Senior Education Program Specialist of the Human Resource and Development. Let's all welcome Jennifer Ricafort Intong.
Okay, thank you, Sir John. Okay, good morning, everyone. Introducing our resource speaker on this webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic. It's a great privilege. I know this one might be difficult, but the thought that he is a man of simplicity and a very down-to-earth person, though the fact of the numerous achievements he accomplished, I feel honored to do so. He is an epitome of diligence, perseverance, and hard work, an inspiration to young ones who dreams big in achieving something from their career. Our resource speaker is the living idiom of a man who happened to be born at the right time and the right place. Coupled with an impressive background, it was not therefore surprising that he is swiftly propelled to a wider horizon of service and into a huge laboratory of management skills. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you the focal person in the development of policy guidelines on preventive drug education program, focal person in the development of some policies and guidelines in the Department of Education, subject specialist in health education, grade 9 learning materials and um, teaching guidelines, lead person in the development, validation, and finalization of grade 9 and 10 learning materials and teaching guides, curriculum standards and teacher's guide for grade 7 and 8 in MAPE, from being a teacher 3 at Iligan National High School to presently the supervising education program specialist and assistant chief in the Bureau of Curriculum Development, Curriculum Standards Development Division, the Department of Education Central Office. Let me give you Sir Jerry Felisarta Krausos. Good morning, sir.
Thank you for that introduction, Ma'am Intong. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Very
Okay.
loud and clear.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Intong. My due respect to the school's division superintendent of Lanao del Norte Division, Dr. Edelberto Oclinaria, the assistant schools division superintendent, Dr. Rosemary Masesar, the chief of SGOD, Dr. Blaine, and the chief of CID, Dr. Eva Idon, fellow educators, the focal person of this event, of this activity, Dr. Arlene Manginsay. Good morning, everyone. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for inviting me in this webinar. It is with great honor and privilege to be talking fellow educators from Lanao del Norte Division. You know what? Lanao del Norte is close to my heart because my wife is from Kapatagan and I'm from Iligan City. So anytime Lanao del Norte Division, when you need our help from the Bureau of Curriculum Development, DepEd Central Office, andito lang po kami para magsilbi po sa Lanao del Norte Division. So once again, maraming salamat po. Permission to share screen, Sir Jo. Would that be okay? Sir Jo, permission to share screen. Okay, sige.
So, Jong, i-access si Sir Jerry Jong. Ang screen. Share screen niya, Jong. That,
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Mag-share ko sa screen, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Presenter
Ah, ah.
na ka, sir.
Oo.
Makita na naman, sir.
Makita, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
The problem. Hindi na ko makita ang screen, ma'am, no? Wait lang. Share content. Desktop. Ma'am Intong?
makita na namo diri, sir. Wala sila sa imo, pero makita na naman mo screen diri.
Makita na, sir. Oo. Sir, dili siya na ako wait lang, sir. Napigi.
Ma'am Car, passes mo ni floor diha, Ma'am Car. Jong, Dayanara. Floor, passes.
Yes, sir. We're working on it.
Thank you.
Ah, Ma'am Intong, have you seen na my ano ma'am, my presentation?
Sir, ay,
The the
dili
the
siya,
the, the
dili siya full
PowerPoint present
screen.
dili siya full screen. Oh. Ah,
Excuse me, Sir Jerry.
yes ma'am.
Sir, imong presentation is PowerPoint
Yes ma'am,
or the Word?
PowerPoint. PowerPoint ma'am, PowerPoint.
Hmm. Kanang bitong sa share content, sir.
Yes ma'am.
Stop sharing sa kanjut, sir.
Okay
Tapos
ma'am.
share lang ba?
Okay, share content ma'am no?
Oo, tapos i-scroll down lang na makita imuhang
Ah,
PowerPoint. Probably
okay ma'am.
naka-screen one man gud
Wala
siya.
na ako na scroll down ma'am.
Ah,
Ayan.
okay na, sir.
Kita na ma'am.
Yes, sir. Paki full screen na lang,
Full
sir.
screen lang na ako. Okay. Okay na ma'am. Kita na siya.
Ah,
Naka full screen na siya ma'am.
wala, sir.
Wala.
Makita dyan po na mo ang katong tanang slides.
Kana,
Okay na, sir?
naka full screen na siya ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay na.
Sige, sir.
Okay, sorry for that technical glitches. I would like to talk about physical education curriculum and the PE program. Okay, I told Ma'am Arlene that to start first with the PE curriculum the since the PE curriculum is the foundation of all forms of physical activity. And I'd like to thank Ma'am Arlene for allowing me to do that because Miss Marivic Tolito will be the one to talk about school sports since school sports is being lodged in their division under school sports division. Ours is about curriculum. So primarily, I am handling the music and arts, physical education and health curriculum. So please bear in mind with me and just feel free to raise clarifications during the course of my presentation. So I would like, so this is my presentation outline. I would like to talk about the K to 12 PE curriculum. This has been repeated over and over again for a couple of years now during the implementation of the K to 12 curriculum. And secondly, let's talk about in a nutshell the PE content and the PE standards and the PE program standards. Also, let's tackle briefly also the most essential learning competencies, the process, how we were able to come up with the essential learning competencies, and the fourth presentation is the role of physical education in promoting sports participation. That would also include the challenges of physical education amidst pandemic, which is the essence of this event. And of course, I'd like to share with the permission of my Director Jocelyn D.R. Andaya, the BCD plans on physical education, so that supervisor of your division, although I shared already these plans to all the regional master supervisors across the country, but I'd also like to share these plans to the division of Lanao del Norte. Okay, so let's start first with the K to 12 PE curriculum. The K to 12 PE curriculum seeks to develop the 21st century skills among its learners. And practically speaking, we've been saying that for so many years now that all the learning areas, including the MAPE and the four components of the MAPE subject, seeks to develop the 21st century skills. So essentially, The K to 12 PE curriculum seeks to improve the cognitive skills and the critical thinking, the problem solving, and the creative thinking, including the social and the interpersonal skills of a learner. Second, it is based on the national standards that define what students should know and be able to do. So our curriculum, PE curriculum, is a standards based. So it seeks to answer what are the desired learning outcomes of PE curriculum. What do we want students to know? What do we want students to do based on what they know? And what do we want students to be based on what they can do? So that was explicitly articulated in the PE curriculum. Okay. Third, it is a paradigm shift from the previous sports-dominated PE curriculum aimed at athletic achievement. Traditional physical education is something like that. It is a sports-dominated. The development of competence is basically geared towards development of skills intended for sports competition. But the right now, the PE curriculum is actually totally different from that scenario because PE curriculum is more on the promotion or development of a lifetime physical activity and fitness. So gone are the days for those sports-dominated content. Although andon pa rin siya, but then the ultimate goal of PE curriculum is geared on the promotion of lifetime physical activity and fitness. The fourth one, K to 12 PE curriculum is a learner-centered. Unlike before that it is a teacher-centered, but right now it's definitely it's a learner-centered. And then it provides many different physical activity choices. So the PE curriculum offers a wide array of physical activities across grade levels. And if you are familiar with the PE curriculum or the PECG, then you would totally agree with me that there are actually offerings of a wide array of physical activities, from exercises, from games, from sports, all geared towards the attainment of our goal, which is the promotion of lifetime physical activity and fitness. And lastly, it meets the needs of all students, especially those who are not athletically gifted. So our PE curriculum is inclusive, no, to all learners. So basically, in a nutshell, that's the K to 12 PE curriculum. Okay, the next slide is about physical literacy, because physical education curriculum, like what I said, its ultimate goal is for physical literacy. And Aspen Institute of 2015 defined physical literacy as the ability, the confidence, and the desire to be physically active for life. So that's what we want among our learners to become someday, that they have to be physically literate so that they have the ability, the confidence, and the desire to be physically active for life. And let's try to break down the three essential elements of physical literacy: ability, confidence, and desire. So physical literacy as ability, when we talk about PL as ability, this is about having a competence in basic movement skills and the overall fitness to engage in a variety of physical activities. So the movement skills and the different skills, movement skills, which is the foundational skill, has been articulated in the key stage 1 of the PE curriculum guide from grades 1, 2, and 3. And later on, I will show you the progression of that skills across grade levels. And the second one is it results from a combination of informal play and deliberate instruction or practice. And the third one, fundamental sports skills in all basic environments on the ground, in the water, air. And then basically, if you are on the west region, then including physical activities that include ice, okay, as an environment. PL as confidence. Know that you have the ability to play in sports and enjoy other physical activities would boost your confidence. Okay, and then results from participation in inclusive programs, and there are provisions for a supportive environment. So the role of the supportive environment, such as the family, the peers, the school, and the community, are very very important in participating different physical activities, lalo na ngayon sa pandemic na ito. And then physical literacy as desire, intrinsic enthusiasm for PAs, whether in organized or unstructured formats, and achieved through early positive experiences. So basically, that's again PE curriculum. The ultimate goal of the physical education curriculum is basically physical literacy. Now, let me show you the physical education framework. I know that as coaches, alam naman natin na pati mga coaches, you are also a MAPE teachers, right? And this is very important because this is like a Bible for all of us. MAPE enthusiasts, that we are all be familiar with the framework of the physical education, including the framework of the other components like the music, arts, and health education, because each component has an intimate connection in order to achieve fully the goal of MAPE, no, as a subject. So looking at the framework, the ultimate goal of a PE framework is that we will produce, no, a graduate who lives an active life for fitness and lifelong health. And physical literacy was explicitly articulated in this particular framework, and for us to be able to achieve, no, a physically literate individual, we need to undergo the different skills. No, so physical education curriculum consists of the movement, the motor, and the activity specific skills. And these particular skills has been distributed progressively across grade level. So from kindergarten to grade 12, makikita po lahat ng skills na ito. But then, of course, it should be developmentally appropriate. So the next slide, in a nutshell, this is the K-12 PE curriculum talking about the program standards of physical activity and the PE standards. So for Key Stage 1, they need to execute the fundamental movement skills through personal and general space. No, they need to play daily. They know the effect of movement, of heart rate, and breathing. So from kinder to grade 3, andito yung body awareness, yung space awareness, yung location, no, and so on and so forth. No, ito yung mga content na itinuturo sa key stage na ito. So as day progresses to the next key stages, they need to understand of the why of the movement, which is achieved by developing a more mature movement patterns and motor skills. So if you notice, so from key stage 1, please let me direct your attention to the key stage 1, wherein this is the foundational skills. Dito itinuturo yung mga different locomotor and non-locomotor skills sa key stage na ito, no. They need to learn all the fundamental movement skills. They need to learn all the fundamental motor skills. The ABC, that's the fundamental motor skills. And then the 3S, yung balance skills, yung catching skills, and then yung locomotor skills, no. Dito itinuturo because that's the foundational skills. And as day progresses to the next key stage, that's for grades 4 to 6. Then key stage 2, nagkakaroon na ng mga mature of the movement patterns. So ang program standards natin dito, or ang P standards natin sa key stage na ito, will see to it that they will be able to execute in mature movement skill patterns, no. Meron na ring combination of movement skills and adapt this in games. Kaya nga sa grades 4 to 6, andun na yung fielding games, no, strike games, different kinds, no, of games, no, and then they need to play individual, partner, and group games, and then they have that sense, no, as a socio emotional, as part of their socio emotional domain. Then they need to foster in their sense being na kailangan na mag-start to become physically fit as early as key stage 2 as a value of physical activity. So mas magiging mature pa siya pagdating natin sa key stage 3. Okay, because the key stage 3 is more about capacity building stage. No? So they need to develop or strengthen the technical and the tactical skills. No, refine different dance movements and styles. So as a PE standard, they need to execute the fundamental skills and tactics principles in a variety of sports and dance. So from grade 7 to 10, nag-start na yung ating sports. Individual sports, dual sports, no, team sports as a form of physical activity. But again, let me underscore this, that the sports introduced in the PE curriculum, the ultimate goal of that is the promotion of a lifetime physical activity and fitness, but not for competition. Okay, so sport as one of the physical activities introduced in key stage 3, and then they need to choose to participate regularly in a moderate to vigorous physical activities, and then of course being physically fit. Pagdating nila doon sa key stage 4, that's the senior high school, that's the proficiency stage. So na-introduce doon yung HOPE 1, yung Health Optimizing Physical Education 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's the achievement of the sports and dance proficiency. So dapat physically fit na yung mga bata natin, and then they choose to live an active lifestyle and also be a positive influence to their support environment, to their family, to their peers, to their community, no? And then complement physical activities with healthy eating habits. Kaya nga yung PE at ang health ay nakamarry yun, kasi health is the ultimate outcome of doing physical activity. Okay, so connected po yung physical education and health. So all of those, so going back to the physical education framework, that's the different program standards that explicitly articulated from kinder to grade 12 and the progression of the skills. The next slide is the PE content in every key stage. No, so I just called this PE content from the original CG. No, so key stage 1, they introduced the body and space awareness as a fundamental stage. No, the fundamental movement skills, and then sa key stage 2, that's the repertoire of fundamental movement skills, the introduction of a variety of games for fun and movement skills mastery. And then for key stage 3, the repertoire of fundamental sports skills and tactics, including participation in a multiple and variety of sports for dance and for fun. And then yung fitness program designed as well. And then that's it. The key stage 4 in the senior high school, more of a personal and school community fitness and sports program design and management. So, lahat po ito ay kinuha lang po natin doon sa ating PE curriculum guide. So, ginawa pong ganito para mas lalong maiintindihan po ng ating mga teachers. So, going back to the physical education framework, our PE curriculum is under the tenet of move to learn and learn to move. So, when it is very important that being a physical literature start first within yourself, no, as an individual, so that you will be able to make a positive influence to your family, to your community, and then to society, in order to have an active life for fitness and lifelong health. So basically, in a nutshell, that's the overview of the physical education framework. So the learner builds on this knowledge and skills so that they would be able to plan, they would be able to set goals and monitor their participation in physical activities, and that is very important. But of course, napaka-challenging ngayon ng ating PE class, no, lalo na sa panahon ngayon sa pandemic na ito, and later on I will going to talk about that. Before I continue, Ma'am Intong, can you still hear me, Ma'am Intong?
Yes, sir, Jerry.
Yes, thank you, Sir Joe. Oo. So, the PE curriculum also allows for an inclusive approach that understands and respects the diverse range of learners. Kaya nga inclusive yung ating PE curriculum, and then it also takes into account their needs, their strength and abilities. So lahat ng ating physical activities na nasa PE curriculum is developmentally age appropriate, and the teaching on the fundamental skills are also guided on the different principles and elements like the characteristics of a learner, um, kung talagang kaya na ba ng bata ang mga physical na activity na ito, yung mga ganong klaseng principle, no? So isa po yun sa foundation natin in the inclusion of the different physical activities under the PE curriculum. That is to ensure that all learners have the equivalent opportunities and choices in physical education. So these are all valuable for the 21st century skills which the K-12 PE curriculum aspires for the learners to develop. Very essential din po na sa Lanao del Norte Division, mahalaga din po na among the uh, yes okay okay very important din po na sa Lanao del Norte Division, mahalaga din po na ma-articulate ninyo sa lahat ng learning competencies kung sa anong particular na 21st century skill ang dinidevelop ng learning competency na yan, para at least kitang-kita nyo rin na sa learning competency sa learning competency na ito yung 21st century skill na dinidevelop, no? So mahalaga din po na magkaroon kayo ng mapping na ganoon sa curriculum niyo. Sometimes I'd like to also share this, that sometimes sport and physical education are often confused with each other, and in that confusion, yung iba kasi sinasabi nila na pag PE sports lang talaga, no? Merong ganong confusion pa rin. So however, sports leaves a different and a larger footprint, no? For example, in ASEAN Games or in the Olympic society, and the footprint of the sports is easier to see compared to physical education. So while sporting involves putting into practice the skills learned through physical education, is the education of sport and brings along fitness and health benefits. So the fields of sport and physical education both impact positively to our society. So again, physical education is about the education of sport. So in physical education, sport is just one of the physical activities of PE. Okay, so both are very important, and both have an impact to health, and of course to society. Okay, let's move on to the K to 12 most essential uh, learning uh, uh, competencies. Um, Way back last quarter of 2018, the Bureau of Curriculum Development started working on the review of the intended curriculum. We actually reviewed the CG in all learning areas because there's a plan that the curriculum will be enhanced by the year 2022. But of course, I don't want to preempt the director of the Bureau of Curriculum Development and even the secretary. But of course, just for the sake of this presentation, that there's a plan to refine the K to 12 curriculum. So we started our review of the intended curriculum last quarter of 2018 until the until 2019. So we started to review all the learning competencies and then try to identify the essential learning competencies before we were able to come up with the most essential learning competency. So even before, kahit wala pa yung pandemic, no, nagkakaroon na ng plan to trim down the learning competencies, no. Also part siya ng agenda ng SDG 4. And the secretary is also very serious in, of course, enhancing our K to 12 curriculum to respond the needs of the changing society. So dapat magiging responsive yung ating curriculum. So let me share to you that the K to 12 most essential learning competencies is not a departure from the K to 12 curriculum. So yung basis ng Bureau of Curriculum Development in trimming down the learning competencies ay doon pa rin sa ating original curriculum guide. So it's not a departure. And then the standards, talking about the content and the performance standards and the key stage standards are retained. No, so we did not change or we did not modify the content and the performance standards, even the program standards and the key stage standards. And then we also focus on the attainment of the 21st century skills. The codes and tag materials are retained for merge and retained competencies, and then all learning areas will be taught. And then of course the most essential learning competencies is aligned with Sulong Edukalidad framework. So allow me to share also the K to 12 curriculum review process. So the intended curriculum that we are actually working is under the responsibility of the Bureau of Curriculum Development. So this is what we're actually doing, working on the intended curriculum, reviewing the intended curriculum, the curriculum guide, the curriculum standards, even the textbooks, the alignment of the textbooks and the learners' materials to our curriculum guide. So that is our responsibility, and that is what we're doing a couple of years ago. And then the implemented curriculum is another phase of the curriculum review under the responsibility of the Bureau of Learning Delivery. Okay, so and then the assessed curriculum under the Bureau of Educational and Assessment. And then, of course, the attained curriculum still under the Bureau of the Educational and Assessment. But of course, our focus is on the intended curriculum. So the results of the intended curriculum will be reported by the secretary soon. No, maybe after this pandemic. Siguro kung hindi pa nagkaroon ng pandemic, siguro for this year 2020 siguro natapos na namin yung intended curriculum. So the focus of review of our curriculum bago kami nag-come up sa most essential learning competencies. Of course, we did the vertical and horizontal articulation within and across learning areas. Tiningnan namin kung walang nag-duplicate na mga learning competencies vertically and then horizontally with other learning areas. So ganun katedious yung process when we did the articulation of the curriculum. And then we also identify the gaps and the issues and concerns across learning areas and grade levels. And then what are the areas for improvement, so as part of the review. So the review covered the following. This is actually the process, and perhaps when you do also your mapping, you can also use this process. First, nagkaroon kami ng mapping of the essential and desirable learning competencies within the curriculum. So bago nagkaroon ng pandemic, nagawa na po namin ito, yung pag-map out ano yung essential, ano lang yung desirable learning competencies. But of course, when we talk about desirable learning competencies, it doesn't mean na wala na siyang value. No, it's just that we're looking the most essential learning competencies that goes beyond classroom. No? And then we also identify the prerequisite knowledge and skills needed to prepare students for essential learning competencies. So per grade level, no, those identified essential learning competencies during the first phase, ina-identify namin ano yung mga prerequisite skills for that particular essential learning competency. So tiningnan namin lahat yon doon sa process namin, ano yung mga prerequisite skills. So kung merong prerequisite kung meron namang prerequisite skills, yung learning competency na yan, then good. Pero kung wala, yun na nga, nagkakaroon kami ng horizontal articulation kasi baka pwede siyang makita doon sa ibang learning area para walang duplication. Okay? And then, the third review, it's the analysis of the interconnectedness of the prerequisite knowledge and skills among the learning competencies for each subject area. So in this particular phase, pumupunta-punta kami sa ibang learning area para tingnan kung walang duplication ng dinidevelop na skills yung ating K-12 curriculum, lalo na sa PE. But unfortunately, yung integration ng PE in other learning areas ay napakakunti lang. No? Mas marami siya sa health education, at sa art, no, education. But then for PE, kunti lang talaga, no, yung integration ng LCs ng PE doon sa other learning areas. And that's good activity. So this is the process of identifying MELCs. Of course, the basis is from the K-12 curriculum guide, and then we were able to come up with the essential learning competencies. So I mentioned na bago nagkaroon ng pandemic, meron nang na-identify ang Bureau of Curriculum Development na mga essential learning competencies kasi nga nagkaroon na kami ng review ng intended curriculum. So nung nagkaroon na ng pandemic, last March, then the secretary instructed us to come up with the most essential learning competencies. So dinisect pa namin yung essential learning competencies to become a most essential learning competencies. But of course, merong criteria na ginagamit ang bureau dyan, yung tinatawag natin endurance. No? Yun yung criteria na ginagamit natin, of course, with the help of the people from the academe, from the field, and other experts, no, from the region and the division offices. So from the essential learning competencies, nag-bring down pa siya into most essential learning competencies. So like what I said, the most essential learning competencies will be used lang for this school year. And just heads up, ongoing pa rin yung aming review of the K-12 curriculum, lalo na sa MAPE, no? And then for all subject areas, ongoing pa rin yung review namin. So it's not just only on the most essential learning competencies, but all learning competencies articulated in the K-12 curriculum guide. So in a nutshell, this is now the result of our review process in identifying the most essential learning competencies. So for MAPE, we have a total of 1,443 learning competencies. And then trimmed down siya into 998 as most essential learning competencies. And then specifically for physical education from grades 1 to 10, we have a total of 356 learning competencies from the CG. Then we were able to trim down the current CG for PE as most essential learning competencies into 165. So almost half of the total learning competencies from the original CG, we were able to come up with 165 most essential learning competencies. Other essential learning competencies identified, hindi na siya naisama sa most essential learning competencies kasi pwede siya mag-manifest sa isang competency. So kumbaga yung competency na yon pwede siyang ma-capture sa isang MELC or sa isang most essential learning competency. Pwede kasing ganun yun. Oo, pwede kasing ganun. Okay, so that's the most essential learning competencies. And later on, if you have clarifications, just raise your clarifications after my presentation. Now, what is the role of physical education in promoting sport? This is very important. Actually, I'd like to present the role of physical education in promoting participation in a sociological perspective. No, however, kasi I haven't seen any researches about that in our country that they're looking the role of PE in promoting sport in a sociological perspective. I'd like to do that someday, to have that kind of research, because looking physical education in promoting PE in a sociological lens will actually encourage one to view the organizational structure and understand also the PE content. Kasi yung PE content natin is totally different from the PE content of other countries. Kasi it has something to do with the socio-cultural perspective, and the development and the formulation of the PE curriculum is also guided with a lot of research, no, from our experts before we were able to come up with these standards and the rest of the learning competencies. Now, lalo na sa ating bansa, very important research na yon if we're looking at in a sociological cultural lens, kasi we are multicultural, no, yung bansa natin, for us to be able to understand the physical education content. So sport does continue to play a significant role in our country, and its influence exists in three areas. One is on the elite level of sport. Meron tayong mga tinatawag na elite level of sport. We also have the community-based sport and the school sport and physical education. But I'd like to focus on the school sport and physical education because this is my topic. Okay, elite level sport and the community-based sport hopefully will be part of the presentation of Miss Marivic Tolito this afternoon. Physical education has been justified within the K-12 PE curriculum by way of producing a physically literate individual, which is the ultimate goal of PE curriculum. And during the 2012 formulation of a curriculum framework and standards of physical education, there was a good deal of academic discussion around the health of our learners. Kasi during the 2012, when we also crafted the health standards, lumabas doon na maraming bata yung lack of physical activity, yung rising of obesity levels, yung possible lifestyle disease, and even yung increase of sedentariness no due to digital technologies no, yung mga bata natin ngayon puro mobile games na lang no, and other digital technologies. So the PE curriculum expert said that sport is seen to offer an alternative way with potential health benefits. So sport as part of a physical activity under the PE curriculum, which will help no improve the health fitness of our learners. So school sport participation in particular is expected to improve children's health, which I totally agree with this principle. So for some people, sport is often used as interchangeable term for physical education. No? While in fact, sport is a content area of physical education, sport also refers to a range of physical movement experiences or activities under physical education. So, moreover, different sporting activities can contribute to the learning process and enable participation in a broader spectrum of sport. So this is significant for the development of the child participation in physical activity through oriented and experiential learning beyond the school years. So this learning process, however, is not an embedded automatic. No? Lahat ng mga sinasabi ko dito ng mga experiential learning that sport may contribute to the development or to the enhancement or promotion of health fitness to an individual, all those benefits or learning process is not embedded automatic, no, or taken for granted, no, as an outcome, no, because that requires the special attention of a math teacher. So dapat alam ng teacher kung ano yung tinuturo niya, no, if he is actually introducing a physical activity or a sport, no, sa under PE, dapat alam ng teacher kung para saan yun, ano yung purpose doon, kung bakit ginagawa yun ng isang bata. Kaya nga dapat specialize ang magtuturo dito kasi gone are the days na baliwala lang yung pagtuturo ng PE. So dapat alam ng teacher kung bakit niya tinuturo yung sport na yon, that specific sport under PE curriculum. So in grade 7, since na-introduce doon ang ating individual at dual sports, kung nag-introduce ka ng arnis, yung table tennis, or any other individual or a dual sport, dapat alam mo kung ano ang purpose ng pag-introduce mo na yon sa sport na yon para ma-achieve natin yung tinatawag nating PE is to promote lifetime physical activity and health fitness. Okay. Physical education is often seen also as the link between sport and health because physical education engage our learners in sporting activities. Okay, now we keep on mentioning that our physical activity involves different sporting activities, which in turn will make them fit and healthy. Yun na nga. Kaya nga ginagawa natin yung mga sports na yun, but of course with proper skills, they're actually doing that in PE curriculum para magiging fit at healthy yung ating mga bata. However, this is also a problematic on a number of fronts. No? For example, yung limited amount of time allocated to physical education in the school curriculum. Kasi yung PE natin is, kasi yung MAPE is just 4 days a week. And each component is allotted parang 60 minutes once a week lang. So yung ibang school naman, depende sa programming ng school ninyo, minsan ginawa ninyong straight. No, for music, straight for 2 weeks para merong continuity of learning, art, for 2 weeks, PE for 2 weeks, and then health for 2 weeks. Na that's okay, walang problema po kasi call po yon ng school head ninyo. Pero kahit ganun pa man, kulang pa rin no yung allotted time for PE, pero hindi naman po kasi within the four walls of the classroom lang pwedeng gawin yung PE. Meron naman tayong mga learning competencies which are self directed na pwedeng gawin ng bata even after school. Okay? Take note that our PE curriculum is far more sophisticated than merely a site for physical activity accumulation. So the curriculum is designed in such a way that the program of instruction, or the PUI, which I am referring to the curriculum, and the way it is enacted, or the pedagogy, determines the students or the learner engagement with the sport experience. And the PE curriculum has all these elements. So ang PE curriculum natin talagang nagbibigay ng wide array of physical activities, no? And all the teachers are given the leeway to adjust the curriculum to make it more fitting in your own context. Sport within physical education should assist physical education as an educational process, and I'd like to underscore that sport in the context of PE curriculum is really to assist the PE educational process, and I am referring to the outcomes of to the learning outcomes of PE, which is more on the promotion of lifetime physical activity and health fitness. No, position with educational discourses and drawing upon educational argument in order to promote, engage, and facilitate sport participation within an school diyan. So I think that is very clear yung role ng sport in the PE curriculum. Physical education is also an important component of education and schooling. Certainly, its relationship to sport and active health living, but also in broader aspects of life. As Dean highlighted, that from a liberal analytical perspective, PE is relevant within the curriculum if it contains a distinctive body of knowledge requiring rational thought and inquiry as well as cultural significance. So kaya nga gusto ko yung research na socio-cultural perspective, kasi mas magiging relevant siya doon sa cultural context ng isang community, yung isang physical activity. And then the positioning of physical education does not comfortably with definitions of the subject. So West and Boucher of 2006 define physical education as an interdisciplinary construct covering all areas relating to the transmission of knowledge, skills, and understanding to an individual or a group. So the application of these skills and their results. So PE provides a context for learning through physical, social, cognitive, moral, and emotional learning. So all aspects of life ay nakakatulong ang pagtuturo ng physical education. Physical activity is not physical education, but physical activity provides the medium through which learning is stimulated in physical education. So move to learn is the context of physical activity as the means for learning, while learn to move embodies the learning of skills and techniques found in our PE curriculum framework. Physical education then refers to an area of curriculum and by definition should evidence a process of learning. So like all curriculum subjects, the purpose of this process is to develop specific skills and understanding to promote confidence and competence in school and beyond. Kaya dapat physically literate ang ating mga bata so that they have the ability, the competence, and confidence in performing different physical activities. Okay, challenges of a PE program amid a pandemic. There's only one certain in this pandemic, and that one certain thing is that our learners should be physically active, that they should keep on moving, that they should stay active. So as the pandemic continues to surge across the country, so more school districts are actually opting for remote learning. So while naka-remote learning na tayo ngayon, then of course there's a lack of critical resources, no? Isa 'yan sa pinaka-challenge ng ating mga MAPE teachers, no? To provide quality PE class. So as a consequence, there's seemingly a logical domain upon which this issue falls is the learning area of physical and health education. So sport can be a panacea in this pandemic because of the notion that sport in physical education can help compensate for the poor declining health of children by enhancing their interest, enjoyment, and motivation for involvement of physical activity and sport. I know that a lot of our teachers right now have that challenges in the online PE class or even or other learning modalities, and it is now about time to use our creative power in order to modify our physical activities. And the Bureau of Learning Delivery is now actually convened to talk about how to deliver effectively so as not to compromise our standards physical education class in this pandemic. We admit from the central office, from the Bureau of Curriculum Development and Curriculum of Learning Delivery, we admit that malaki po ang challenge nito sa amin at nahirapan po kami kasi lahat naman po tayo ay new in this particular situation, no, sa panahon na ito. So this is a work in progress. That is why we are also appealing our partners from the field, lalo na po sa inyo din, na to also do your part and then also try to recalibrate your own way of instructional delivery for PE class. I know that physical education could also come to be seen as responsible if there is an increase in obesity among learners and other lifestyle diseases. Ngayon, ongoing po ang research ng BEA, yung Bureau of Educational and Assessment. Kasama po yung pag-research nila if mayroong increase, no, in the level of obesity among our learners sa panahong ito. Kasi nga, nakaupo na lang yung mga bata, wala nang ginagawa, unlike the face-to-face, because it's totally different, no? Yung delivery of the domains, when you talk about the cognitive, the socio-emotional domain, and psychomotor domain, it's totally different when you conduct physical education class face to face. But if it is in an online setup, it's actually totally different and comes many challenges in the delivery of the class. But like I said, ang mga Pinoy naman ay very creative, and we will find ways on how we can deliver our PE class effectively and efficiently pa rin. Another thing is the value of physical activity. Now that's also a great challenge on how we would be able to highlight the value of PE, no, in our learners. Kasi ngayon parang modular ata. I don't know if ang Lanao del Norte Division ay ano yung learning modality ninyo, if it is modular, kung binibigyan niyo yung mga bata ng module, no, and then parang sila na yung and then parang self, no, kasi meron naman mga SLM, self learning module, and then I don't know how you assess, no, the progress of our learners. So mahirap din sa PE, no, yung value of physical activity kung paano siya i-assess natin, kung paano siya i-evaluate natin. Unlike kasi if it is face-to-face, talagang malalaman natin kung talagang natutunan ng bata yung movement skill na yon, yung combination of movement skills na yon, alam natin kasi makikita natin. But in this particular setup, that's one of the challenges that we are actually facing right now. Kasi importante din yung value, maipalabas yon sa mga bata, no? Yung value ng physical activity na kaya ginagawa ng bata, yung sport activity, yung exercise, yung fitness, kaya niya ginagawa yon kahit sa bahay nila ngayon kasi sa sitwasyon natin ngayon, modular tayo, ginagawa yon ng bata, yung physical activity na yon because nakakatulong yon sa pag-improve ng kanyang health fitness. Ginagawa ng bata yung physical activity na yon, yung sport na yon within their community or sa bahay nila kung meron man silang space na kaya nila ginagawa yon dahil nakakatulong yon para magkaroon ako ng malusog na katawan at yung aking at magkakaroon ng lifetime physical activity. Mahalaga din yon ma-highlight ng ating mga MAPE teachers yung value. Kahit sa panahong ito, hindi pa rin nawawala yung value why they are actually doing the physical activity or different kinds of sports. Sport is seen as a valid and highly regarded component of the school curriculum, and this is only possible, however, when it is pedagogically constructed within a curriculum beyond the boundaries of normative textbook, technique, and physical activity resources. Just an insights for this presentation, physical education can play its part in students establishing understanding of the meaning and significance of sport within a health-oriented, physically active lifestyle at school. So we're looking sport within a health-oriented, physically active lifestyle sa PE curriculum, no? Beyond the school, now and into the future. And the role of physical education in promoting sport participation in school and beyond is linked with the development of skills and understandings, enabling the functional use of sport knowledge within active and engaged citizenship. So allow me to share also the plans of the Bureau of Curriculum Development on the PE curriculum. Right now, we are continuing our intended curriculum review of the MAPE of the music, arts, physical education, and health education, and we are also on the integration of a progressive physical education concepts in other discipline. No, PE in the Philippines has seen a significant decline, no, having taken a backseat when it comes to national priority. In fact, last June or July, I don't know, Senator Villanueva then parang planning to remove PE, no, in our curriculum along with TLE and values education. But then the Department of Education and the sports human kinetics of UP Diliman made their position paper, no, on the inclusion of PE in the curriculum, no, in this pandemic. No, talagang mas kailangan natin ang physical education ngayon. Sabi nga ng ating superintendent si Sir Eddie at si Ma'am Rose na sa pandemic nito, the more na kailangan natin yung physical activity at talagang hindi natin pwedeng tanggalin sa ating curriculum. So we're looking at the integration of those of the progressive physical education concepts in other discipline, kasi nakita po natin yon sa ating horizontal articulation na kunti lang po yung integration ng PE in other learning areas. Dagdagan natin yun, no? We're looking at that possibility, and then necessary steps have been taken by the DepEd, but the Bureau of Curriculum have gone beyond the usual actions by integrating physical education concepts in the curriculum as part of the holistic experience rather than as strictly a separate component or subject. And also, we are looking into the possibility of the concept of gamification, no, that is being used by many educational institutions, no, not just only in the West, but I think in our country, in some private schools in Manila, they're actually doing the gamification. The recent popularity of the mobile games like the Ingress and the Pokemon Go should give educators ideas on how to further exploit new technologies to improve school PE programs, no, rather than look the video gaming as a deterrent to physical activity, even to the point of banning them in home schools. So administrators and teachers can consider integrating the use of devices to their school programs. And while this can never replace actual physical activity, it goes without saying that educators should take advantage of young people's enthusiasm for technology to get them moving physically. And the third one is the integration of physical education with modern technology, no, edtech, no, integration of edtech in MAPE. So this is the plan of the Bureau of Curriculum Development to liberate our implementation of the PE curriculum. So as the MAPE supervisor at the DepEd Central Office, we ensure that the curriculum and pedagogical decision making are an integral part of the efforts to move away from MAPE's branding as the marginal concern of the curriculum. So physical education will play a pivotal role in educating through sports in areas of personal and social skill development, physical activity and participation, and health of individuals and communities. And I'd like to share the message of the secretary, and I quote that we are going into a new normal because we are creating a brave new world, and we have to start with the children to give them courage, to give them initiative, to help them look at problems realistically, and to continually have hope and confidence that we will overcome, so on to the brave new world. And isang karangalan po ang maglingkod sa bayan, lalo na po sa Lanao del Norte Division. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you, Sir Joe.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Our speaker for our first input of the day, Sir Jerry Krause. Thank you so much for that comprehensive discussion of the importance of physical education in our curriculum, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And for that, we would like to present this certificate of recognition. And let me read the citation. Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, Region 10, Schools Division of Lanao del Norte. Certificate of recognition is hereby awarded to Jerry F. Krausos, Supervising Education Program Specialist of the Bureau of Curriculum Development, Central Office, in recognition of his meritorious role as a resource speaker during the webinar on sports as a part of self-discipline amidst pandemic held last November 19 to 20, 2020. Given this 19th day of November 2020 at DepEd Division Office, Tubod, Lanao del Norte. Signed, Edilberto L. Oplinaria, CESO 5. Congratulations, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, SDS, Edilberto Oplinaria, ESDS Rose, Dr. Rose, Cesar, Chief Ablin, Chief Eva, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Dr. Arlene Marasigan, maraming salamat po.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so if you do have questions, please log
Yes,
into www.menti.com and use the code 2409439. Again, log into menti.com, that's MENTI, and use the code 2409439. Ma'am Dayanara, do we have questions from menti.com? Wala? Okay, none so far. So again, thank you so much, Sir Jerry.
Thank you,
God bless
Sergio.
po.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, again, so if you do have questions, go to www.menti.com and use the code 2409439. If you are joining us through YouTube, kindly comment or type your questions at our comment section in YouTube link. Thank you so much. And for the meantime, while waiting for your questions, again, please be reminded of our virtual etiquette. Please be aware of your surroundings, minimize distractions, mute your microphone when you're not talking, speak up only when allowed, and stay seated and stay present. We do have a lot of topics for our webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic. And later this afternoon, we will be joined by one of the supervising program education specialists from this central office. This time from the Bureau of Learner Support Services, the School Sports Division. So that will be implementation of school sports during the new normal education system. Ma'am Dayanara, do we have questions? How about in YouTube? Do we have questions in YouTube? Okay, so none. Ma'am Arlene, do you have announcements before we'll have a break?
I would like to inform all the participants to please later this afternoon we'll have the workshop to prepare for it. So this afternoon na lang after the talk of Ma'am Marivic. So for now, since there are no questions for our open forum, so we will declare Sir Jong break lang. And
All right.
before
Yes,
that, I would
ma'am.
like to invite everyone, those coaches at school heads, please inform your coaches to join us in this webinar. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Mom Marlene. And again, please be reminded that we will have our workshop later this afternoon after the input from Ma'am Marivic B. Tulito. And we would like to thank one more time Sir Jerry Krauses for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us here in the division of Lanao del Norte. And now we know why sports should be a major part of the school curriculum because if learners stay emotionally and physically healthy, they can easily focus on their studies. And of course, sports helps to teach various skills to students like leadership, patience, team efforts, and of course, social skills. So much for that. We'll have our break, and then we'll be back at exactly 1 o'clock in the afternoon for the input, and then to be followed by the workshop. Enjoy your lunch, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our afternoon session of the webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic. Please be reminded of our virtual etiquette for meetings. Please be present and stay seated. Of course, dress appropriately. Be aware of your surroundings. Minimize distractions. Mute your microphone when you're not talking. Speak up only when allowed. Again, this is the afternoon session of our webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic. And our input for this afternoon is all about sports as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic, implementation of school sports during the new normal education system. And to introduce our speaker for this afternoon is our Education Program Specialist 2 of the Monitoring and Evaluation, Dr. Lady Ann Lau Cabajo.
People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. By Maya Angelou. A quote that will make a mark in our heart this afternoon. Our speaker of this afternoon graduated Bachelor in Secondary Education, major in Physical Education at Philippine Normal University, as cum laude and Athlete of the Year 2003. Master of Arts in Education at Philippine Normal University, Manila, Philippines. Master in Education at Flinders University, Adelaide, South Australia. Currently taking her Doctor in Philosophy at STI University. Is a trainer in teaching methodologies, assessment, classroom management, and other curriculum-related concerns, particularly in PE and sports. As textbook evaluator, PE and health textbook and teacher's manual evaluation. A sports leader, member, evaluation and monitoring committee. Is a project manager in the comprehensive school sports program, focal person. Sports club focal person, conduct of the Palarong Pambansa, member of the Technical Management and Administration Committee, special program in foreign language, focal person, Mandarin language. Is an education program specialist to Curriculum Development Division, Bureau of Secondary Education, a chairman of the DepEd Cooperative Board of Directors. Day Assistant Chief of School Sports Division, Bureau of Learner Sport Service. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker for this afternoon is a native of Northern Samar, Maribek Borsillo Tulitol.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Giovanni Pangasian. Thank you for your introduction. Yes, I'm Maribek Tulitol po, and I would like to convey my sincerest appreciation and gratitude to the school's division superintendent of the division of Lanao. I'm sorry, I'm still turning on my, okay. Sir Edelberto Oplenaria. At the same time, Dr. Rosemary Macesar, your Assistant Schools Division Superintendent. Si Ma'am Rose. I met her already once in Tangub City when she was still the ASDS. Thank you. Is it my turn now, Sir Giovanni?
Yes, Ma'am Maribek, it's your turn now.
Okay. Okay. So I understand you had Sir Jerry Crosus in the morning for his presentation on the physical education curriculum. And I also do understand that I am here to present to you sport as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic. Okay? Um, I belong to the office called School Sports Division. Nung pinakilala po ako ni Ma'am kanina, I'm sorry, I forgot to thank her. I thought she's Ma'am Giovanni. So, she's using pala the account of Sir Giovanni. But anyway, thank you, Ma'am. So, formerly, I was with the Bureau of Curriculum Development, the former BSE, Bureau of Secondary Education, with Jerry. Si Jerry colleague ko noon. And we were together when we started the K to 12 curriculum. But right now, I'm with another office, sabi ko nga, called the Schools Sports Division. Okay, simulan ko na po ang aking presentation. Can I share now my presentation? Is it all right
Yes,
to
ma'am.
share, Sir Giovanni?
Yes, ma'am. You can share it now, ma'am.
I think I'm not allowed to share po. Okay. So while waiting, ayan,
Okay na po.
pwede na po. Yes. I placed here in my presentation sports club program, sports participation opportunity amidst the pandemic. Now, siguro magtataka kayo. It has no mention about the values, but you will see later on what's this sports club and as regards yung values inculcation among our learners. First and foremost, being with the school sports division, I'd like to share with you the mandate of our office. Our office is in charge of providing leadership in planning and formulation of national policies, standards and guidelines, programs and projects that result to a national framework on sports program, games and recreational activities. And we're doing this in collaboration with local and national organization, both public and private. At ang aming main objective here is for us to develop sports-minded, physically fit, health-conscious, healthy and alert learner equipped with life skills. Our office is in charge actually of the Palarong Pambansa. So, as you notice, ang mga keywords po dito, national framework. So that's our role. We need to develop framework. We need to conceptualize projects that will promote sports, games, and recreation in the country, in our educational system. That's the reason why we have this sports club. What else? Do you know that we have these physical activity guidelines? Marami pong guidelines yan. It depends on the age bracket. For our age, tayo po mga adults, sinasabi lang, nire-require lang tayo to perform at least 60 minutes most days of the week. So when you say most days of the week, 4 days, at least 4 days for 1 hour. However, our target clientele are the learners or are the students. Ito yung mga age 5 to 17. And the World Health Organization says that the guidelines for physical activity for this age bracket is at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity. The word here is daily. Ang bata pala, para masatisfy niya yung physical activity guidelines, kailangan may 1 hour physical activity siya using moderate to vigorous intensity na physical activity. Pag sinabi nating moderate to vigorous, we're talking about, these are the activities ranging from walking, dancing, hanggang sa running, hanggang doing mga weight training. So that's vigorous, moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity. However, ang ating educational system, just like what Jerry presented, ay nagpo-provide lang ng 1 hour na physical education program. Am I right? Can I hear answer from our participants? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So ang ating physical education po ay nag-provide lang, we just offer 1 hour of physical education in a week. Now, if we look at our physical activity guidelines, hindi siya enough. Hindi siya enough. That's the reason why, aside from physical education curriculum, aside from the special interest clubs like the sports or special program in sports, special program in the arts, na ganun din po, twice a week or 2 hours in a week or 3 hours in a week, depende. At hindi rin po lahat ng school ay nag-o-offer na ganun. So, we need to provide additional physical activity opportunities. That's the reason why we came up with this. Parang ano ba tag dito? Ang aking PowerPoint nagahang. Okay, that's why we came up with this sports club. Now, what about this sports club? Una, may maling spelling dyan sa physical. I'm sorry for that. We have these objectives or purpose why we develop this sports club. I know that some of you will be telling me, meron na kami niyan. Yes, I know. Some of the schools are already implementing sports club. In fact, may mga nagme-message po sa amin na very effective and very successful ang kanilang sports club. However, we made a framework. We made a structure. And in this case, we're saying that this sports club should enhance physical literacy and optimizing health through engagement in various physical activities along defined key stages of learning. What does it mean? Ano ba ibig sabihin ng physical literacy? Bakit siya naka-highlight? Physical literacy, as defined, says that it's the motivation, it's the competence, it's the confidence, or it's your knowledge, it's your appreciation of the value of physical activity. Pag sinabi natin physical literacy, kung ikaw personally sa sarili mo, alam mo na mahalagang exercise, alam mo kung paano gawin ang mga physical activities, then you are physically literate. If you know the value of physical activity to oneself, then you are physically literate. And we're doing this to optimize health using various physical activities. May term dyan na along defined key stages of learning. If you listen to Sir Jerry, key stages of learning refer to the different developmental years of our learners. Key stage 1, kindergarten to grade 3. Key stage 2, grades 4 to 6. Key stage 3, grades 7 to 10. And then we have the key stage 4, which is the last stage. That's grade 11 and 12. At nakaayon dyan ang ating sports club. Second, we also intend to develop character. And we're doing it by providing, ito na po, values-based approach. We made sure that the sports club will be strong, will be very specific with the values that need to be developed in our sports club. Hindi lamang puro competition dapat. Dapat strong po ang value formation or character building. And the last one is to create sports pathways for long-term development and success. What does it mean? Sports pathways. Pag meron na tayong sports club, we can always assume that there will be a portion or some of these members of the sports club will become high caliber athlete. In your case, pwede maging representative ng region ninyo. Pag talagang highly skillful ang bata, baka maging participant natin internationally. Now, this sports club will create pathways for our learners who will be joining the club. Okay, now let's look at the framework of the sports club. Ito po mahalagang maunawaan po natin. Sports club is characterized as inclusive, developmentally appropriate, and long-term success-oriented. Let me start with the word inclusive. When you say inclusive, it only means we welcome all learners. I would like to emphasize the word all learners, regardless of interest, regardless of skill level, regardless of participation level, regardless of age of or gender. Ganun po ang tunay na definition ng inclusivity. And aside from that, we also consider or we do recognize learners with special needs. Ibig sabihin, gusto nating patunayan ng club na ito ay hindi talaga only for those who are highly competitive, yung mga sasali lang na atleta. Second, this sports club are or the activities in this club are developmentally appropriate, which are developed deliberately planned on key learning stages. Gaya ng sinabi ko, binangga po sa curriculum standards ang lahat ng mga activities in relation to a particular key learning stage to achieve desired result. And the last one is, sabi nga natin, we would like to promote physical literacy. And it keeps the outcomes relevant to life, to learning, as well as framework. So that's how we envision the sports club. Now, for our school heads at saka mga potential coordinators, these are the components of the sports club that need to be considered. One is the curriculum program standards, meaning just like the physical education curriculum, there are set of contents, there are set of activities, there are set of standards that need to be that will serve as the guidance in the implementation of the program. Meron din po tayong suggested organizational structure. Mamaya ipapakita ko po. And we have a set of policies and guidelines. We encourage partnerships and linkages kasi aminin natin yung ganitong mga special programs or mga interest clubs, you cannot sustain without the support of your partners or stakeholders. And the last one is the program resources. Okay, so let's continue po. Ito po yung binabanggit ko kanina. Yung bago po nating re-engineered sports club, is that we made sure that the sports club standard is in accordance with the physical education standards. Ang implication po nito, yung materials po na na-develop po namin, because in our office, we have developed 27 sports. In fact, kanina katatapos lang namin ang virtual orientation for dance sports. Kahapon, aerogymnastics, the other day, arnis. And then next week, another set of sports naman. Okay, going back. Ano po ibig sabihin nito? Similar to the physical education curriculum, we also classified the different stages into key stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you look at the physical education sports club, they're all the same. It's just that the difference is on the goal. Ano ba ang direction? While physical education is leading towards an active lifestyle for health optimization, ang ating sports club ko is leading towards achievement of sports proficiency. Kasi ang nakikita natin, ito po yung opportunity para sa ating mga atleta para higit pong ma-sharpen yung kanilang talento. Okay? At gagawin natin to scientifically. If you are familiar, if you've heard about the long-term athlete development by Canada, yung model pong yun ang medyo pinagbasihan po natin to come up with this sports club standards. Okay, so similar to the physical education curriculum, we have kindergarten to grade 3 for key stage 1, we have grade 4 to grade 6, key stage 2, and so on and so forth. Let me continue. Ano pa ang difference nitong program nito? Mahalagang maunawaan po natin ito. The horizontal line para sa mga mathematics genius, yung horizontal axis po natin describes the participation level. Di ba sabi natin kanina, this is inclusive. We're supposed to accept everybody. So when you say participation level, aminin natin, sa mga club, may mga bata na gusto sumali only because they just want to play, right? They just want to enjoy. Or probably, they want to join their friends in joining the club. However, some of these learners and members, they are highly competitive. Aminin natin may mga bata na gano'n, na bata pa lang sabi, parang itong batang to, alam mo agad na gusto nakikipag-compete. Meron siyang ganong angas. Okay, the vertical axis or axis refers to the skill level. Ito naman kung anong kakayanan ng bata. So there are learners or members who are beginners or developing, but others are highly proficient. Kaya yung iba sa ating sumasali sa club, marurunong na kasi naglalaro na pala sila sa labas ng school sa mga liga. Hindi rin naman natin sila itatakwil kasi sabi nga natin, lahat ng bata, regardless of the skill and participation level, we need to accept. Now, what is the explanation behind the 4 quadrants or the 4 squares? Let's start with play. Play, recreational, emerging, then performance. Ito po yung klase ng mga activities na ibibigay natin depende kung ano po yung category ng bata. Example, kung ang bata po ay beginner or developing, ibig sabihin hindi pa ganun ka-skillful. Yung iba nga dyan papasok, hindi pa marunong humawak ng bola. O kaya hindi makatama ng shuttlecock. Okay lang, that's fine. And at the same time, itong bata, and he doesn't want to compete. Alam niya ang kakayanan niya. Anong klaseng activity ang ipoprovide nyo? Activities which are play or games in nature. Okay? Now, if the member is into playing, into fun, but he is or she is highly proficient, ibig sabihin, gusto niya gusto niyang maglaro lang, gusto niyang sumali lang, pero nakita mo, skillful yung bata, marunong, baka naturuan na magulang. Anong klaseng activities sa ibibigay mo? Activities which are recreational in nature. However, if the athlete or if the member, should I say, is developing, wala pang gaanong skill, pero nakita mo may potential siya for competition, then we should provide activities for emerging athlete. Ibig sabihin, potential itong maging varsity. So, bibigyan mo siya ng mga activities na medyo may mga mini tournaments, may mga rules, may mga competition. Now, if that particular learner is already highly proficient, ibig sabihin highly skilled, at the same time, sustained niya pa rin yung competitiveness sa kanya, then he or she could be in the performance athlete group or varsity group. Ito pong varsity group, ito po yung mga grupo ng bata na pwede na pong mag-compete outside the school. But just to remind you, all the quadrants or all the 4 squares must be considered and depending on the skill and participation. So ganun po dapat natin tinitignan. Kahit po sa pagtuturo, hindi po tayo basta nagtuturo ayon sa kagustuhan lang natin. We need to know where our learners are. Okay? Next. And as I have said, we have suggested organizational structure. Although sports club will be supervised by the supervisor, mga coordinators, sports coordinators, and regional officers, but still, sports club is a school-based activity. It should be headed, it should be led and managed by the school head. However, the school head must top a coordinator. Now, ito pong suggested structure is a structure for a big school, yung may kakayanan mag-provide talaga ng marami. Ano po ang difference ng coordinator at facilitator? If your school can offer, let's say, 5 sports, okay, 5 sports. Then, I have 1 facilitator for arnis, 1 facilitator for dance sports, 1 facilitator for archery, 1 for basketball, 1 for football. Still, there's 1 coordinator that will manage all the different sports. Ang coordinator, siya yung in charge sa kabuuan ng programa. Ang facilitator in charge, parang siya yung teacher in charge sa sport. Tanong, bakit may coach? Gaya ng sinabi ko, ang isang club ay binubuo ng diverse, di ba? Group of members. May mga beginners, may mga highly competitive. Now, yung performance athlete group or varsity group will be managed by the coach and the assistant coach kung may opportunity. while the rest of the group members or the club members will be managed by the facilitator. Kaya lumalabas, hindi po coach kaagad. Bakit po? Ang iniiwasan namin, yung connotation ng sports club ay competitive kasi coach kaagad. Dapat facilitator because we want learning of the sport. Okay? Now, what about the parent leader? It was found out that most of the clubs and interest groups or organizations are effective and successful if it is being supported by parents. So this time around, we're bringing in the parents para po may pakialam ang ating mga magulang. And they can support the program. Anyway, the members are their kids. Also, we want to empower yung ating mga members and we want to establish set of officers. Kaya merong club officers. And then on the bottom, we have the club members. Now, sabi ko nga, kung malaki ang school, ito yung possible na structure. But if none, pwedeng school head, coordinator, and then kung may coach at kung ilan lang ang po pwedeng coach, pwede kasi sa isang club walang coach. Pwede may coach. Depende kung may varsity group na doon sa iyong club. Okay? Medyo i-alarm nyo lang po ako kung naririnig nyo pa ako or hindi, ha? So that I can continue or I can repeat. Okay. Am I still okay?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear po.
Okay, thank you. Now, how to organize? This one is the task actually of the principal or the school head. This is the suggested phases in organizing the club. First and foremost, you need to know your environment. And we call this inventory phase. Pag sinabing know the environment, yung usual term natin, environmental scanning, ika nga. Ano ang available sa school ko? Ano-ano ba yung mga facilities na meron ako? Ito bang programang ito kayang suportahan ng school? Nasa SIP ba ang club? Okay, so yun pa lang, parang gathering of information. Moving on to the next phase, which is the exploratory phase, which is getting started phase, you need to adjust now or do something with what you do not have. Okay? Example, if it's not in your SIP, then this is the right time for you to revise the SIP and then include the sports club. Bakit? Alam naman ng lahat, if it's not in the SIP, hindi po malalagyan ng pondo, right? What else? You start identifying sino na yung mga pwede maging coach. Okay? At kung wala kami ganito, kukuha ba ako ng coach sa labas? Paano ang sweldo niya? So this is the exploratory phase. Moving on, once everything is settled, you start implementing the program. So we call it implementation phase. This time around, you start doing your program advocacy. Pwede ka nang mag-conduct ng mga, yung advocacy of the program. Pwede ka na mag-recruit. Pwede ka na mag-set up ng registration. Pwede ka nang mag-assign or designate na mga teacher coaches mo. And then start implementing the program. While the last phase is the follow-up phase. The assumption here is that you've already implemented the program. So all you have to do now is to probably, if it's found successful, you can have an extension or expansion. Diba? Palakihin mo. Kung dati 3 lang sports mo, gawin mong 5. What else? You can do an evaluation. Lahat ba ng ginawa mong strategies na nasunod? Effective ba lahat ng strategies ko? Di po ba? So that's the follow-up phase. And this is just a suggested way or procedures on how to organize your sports club. Baka tatanungin po ninyo ako, ano po mga policies? Yes, we're now in the process of issuing the policy through a DepEd order. Bina-validate lang po namin ngayon yung manual because together with the policy, together with the memo, I'm sorry, together with the order, there should be the manual. Manual should be finalized. Okay. So, lumalabas medyo kayo po ang nauna sa karamihan. What about this manual? As I've said, along with the sports club, kasi iniisip namin, in the past, when you organize the club, pag pumasok ang bata, ang gagawin agad ng teacher coach na naka-assign or facilitator or coordinator, Bigyan agad ng bola, paglaruin, magpa-try out. Parang hindi yata ganun yung ideal setup ng isang club. So we came up with this manual to provide everyone, particularly the principal, the administrators, and the teachers, to provide a step-by-step guide to schools, school districts, and regions in developing, implementing, evaluating, and improving sports club program. So meron po tayong manual, yes. It's a two-part manual. Part 1 is organization and management of the sports club. And the second part is the instructional part, where the teachers can use as guide in teaching the sport, the identified sport. Okay. Isa rin po sa, sabi ko sa inyo, it's a two-part manual. So the second part contains the work plan. Ano po ang laman ng work plan? Similar to the curriculum, it has standard. Kasi alam po ninyo, ang isang programa, kung wala kang standard, wala kang benchmark, wala kang pagbabasihan kung ano ba dapat, ano hindi dapat. Hindi mo alam kung tama ng ginagawa mo kung wala kang standard. So, we need to set the standard. There's the skill that need to be developed. Halimbawa, sa dance sports, ano-ano ba yung mga skills na dapat na i-develop? Then, na-identify po dito. Ano yung mga fitness components na dapat mong i-develop as you develop the skills? And the fourth one, I'd like to emphasize, we also identify values and virtues. In these values and virtues, it's based on the Olympic values at the same time, yung core values ng DepEd. Okay? And then we have focused life skills and suggested activities and of course, outcomes. May magtatanong ngayon sa akin, Ma'am, kung ganyan kakumpleto at katitalyado, graded po ba yan? Yun po yung tanong doon. Graded po ba? The answer is no. This sports club is a voluntary basis. But eventually, USEC Alain is intending to make it mandatory. Kasi nga aminin natin, sabi nga dun sa ating physical activity guidelines, 1 hour for physical education is not enough. And the institution, the Department of Education, has this responsibility of providing sports participation opportunity, just like the sports club. Okay, ano yung mga key stages? Yung nakita po ninyong standards, ito po yung mga key stages. Ibig sabihin, ito yung categories depending on their age level. So, we have fundamentals for key stage 1. Ulitin ko lang po, kindergarten to grade 3. We have key stage 2, it's learning to train. So, meaning, pagka key stage 1 pala, dapat puro fun lang. Fun activities, plays, and games. Remember the participation matrix? Puro fun and games. While for key stage 2, starting grades 4 to 6, kung mapapansin yung curriculum, you start learning basic skills, right? Sports skills. Pagdating po ng key stage 3, capacity building. Meaning, ito na yung time para ituro mo na yung skills. And then pagdating po ng key stage 4, we have the proficiency stage. Ito yung kung ano yung natutunan mo skill in a particular sports, dapat po ma-enhance and make them proficient in key stage 4. What about movement or sports skills? Paano ba o ano-ano ba ang kasama dito? Sa atin pong manual, we identified locomotor. Alam naman natin ang locomotor. If we're all PE teachers, we know what locomotor skills are. We have walking, running. When you move from one place to another, that's locomotor. When you move, but you're not moving, or you're just in place, eggshell, we call it non-locomotor, just like bending, stretching, they're all non-locomotor skills. Now, what about manipulative skills? When you move together with an implement, you're having something, then we call it manipulative. Just like when you bat the ball, when you throw the ball, diba? when you hit the ground. That's manipulative skill. Sport specific, ito yung mga specific skills for a particular sport. Halimbawa, spiking. Saan ba ginagamit ang spiking? There's spiking in volleyball. May iba pa bang spiking sa ibang sa ibang sports? Okay? Service. May service sa volleyball, may service sa badminton, may service sa tennis. But these are sport-specific skills. And the last one is competition skills. Siguro sabi nyo, ano ito, bago ito, competition skills. These are the skills to prepare them for competition. We also included skills for competitions because we feel that before they can compete, itong mga sports skills are not enough. They should be ready for competition. Example, yung mga psychosocial, di ba? Ito yung mga motivation, yung ganyan. It's part of the competition skills. Yung kanyang strategic thinking, mental toughness, they're all competition skills. Okay? Kung may tanong po, later on, we can discuss further. Now, bakit may life skills? We want to be consistent with the curriculum and we got these life skills in the 21st century skill. Look, dito po sa manual na ginawa po namin for the sports club, we have already identified. Meaning for key stages 1 and 2, all we have to develop for life skills are communication and collaboration. Bakit? Kasi we feel that for kindergarten to grade 6, ito yung mga possible lang. Ito yung appropriate life skills that they should develop. They should be able to develop communication. And communication doesn't only mean magsalita. Even listening is another indicator of communication. And then collaboration. For key stage 3, which is for grades 7 to 10, we identified lifelong learning. And key stage 4, innovation. Because we expect them to be what? To be innovative. Ito po yung mga matataas ng grade level ng bata. Okay? What about the fitness components? Okay, ano lang po ito? Enumeration. Nakita na po natin lahat yan. Agility, balance, coordination, speed, power, strength, flexibility, and endurance. These are all the fitness components that need to be developed along with the skills. Ibig sabihin, doon po kasi sa manual, habang dinidevelop mo ang, let's say, example na natin kanina, yung spiking sa larong volleyball, di-develop din dapat natin, nadi-develop na rin dapat natin ang ilang components ng fitness. Halimbawa, when you spike, alin ba dyan ang nadi-develop sa atin? We develop coordination. Without coordination, you will not be able to do spiking successfully. Baka hindi mo tamaan ang bola, right? You need to develop the power. Why? Kailangan mong tumalon. Walang dating ang palo mo pag hindi mo siya sinabayan ng talon. You need to develop your balance. Bakit? Pag hindi balanse, baka tumumba ka, hindi mo man na tinamaan ng bola. So, as you learn the skill, you also develop the fitness components together with the values, together with the life skills. Okay, ito po yung values. Gusto ko kayong bigyan ng medyo time to scan, to read the values. Tanungin niyo po ako, bakit ganyan, saan galing yan? Sabi ko po sa inyo, ang pinanggalingan po nito ay ang Olympic core values at the same time depth and core values. We would like to recognize yung and acknowledge Dr. Salve Favila. She made a study on the Olympic values and because of that, we were able to identify ito po, mga values in sports that which are appropriate to each key stage. Now for key stage 1, we have identified that indeed, parang ang appropriate for our key stage learner 1 ay pagkakaibigan at paggalang or friendship and respect. For key stage 2, patas na paglalaro at pagbibigayan, fair play and tolerance. And then key stage 3, pagsusumikap sa ikahusay, striving for one's best. And the last one, galing and excellence. Remember, yung ating life skill for Key Stage 4, innovation, di po ba? It's really aligned with the values of excellence in Key Stage 4. Okay. Halos lahat po ng ating DepEd core values are, we align, should I say, we align all of this with our DepEd core values. And then the last column, aside from the activities, are the outcomes. Ano po ibig sabihin nito? Doon po sa last column ng aming manual, nakastipulate po din doon kung ano yung gagawin ng mga bata. Let's say for hopping, yung, sa locomotor ng Key Stage 1, naka-stipulate po doon ano yung ipagagawa sa bata. At the same time, ka-identify po under the process the mechanics of hopping, step by step. Paano ba ang tamang hopping? Start with your 2 feet together, and then slightly bent knees, parang ganon, and then raise body upward. So, example lang yun. But that's how the process looks like. Procedure will tell us what to do. Process will tell us the step-by-step movement pattern of each skill. So, hinimay po namin lahat ng skill doon para pag nakita po ng teacher, alam niya kung ano ang kanyang i-observe looking at the performance indicators. Okay? Ibig sabihin, dahil hindi nga siya graded, all you have to do is to check whether the kids are really learning. If not, then we need to do it again until such time that they perfected the skill. Okay. So, this is just the summary. Yung pag nilagay natin sa matrix. And this is the example of the manual. There's the standard. You can see the life skills. Meron po tayong nilagay na indicators. You can see values or virtues in this particular stage. And in this case, this is Key Stage 1 for kindergarten to grade 3. And then bago ho magsimula, lagi pong may mga routinary activities and health and hygiene tips. Not because we are in a pandemic, but we want this to be routinary activities na dapat bago magsimula lagi ang activities, learners must be aware of, cleanliness, proper hygiene. Okay? So they need to clean their hands, they need to sanitize the equipment, they need to prepare the environment, and then do some routinary activities, okay? Like doing it before the session and then ending with the following activities each session. Gagawin natin siyang routine. And in this case, ladies and gentlemen, it's already inculcating values. Okay? We're already inculcating values. Now, the challenge now here is, paano po yan, ma'am, nasa pandemic tayo? Paano natin gagawin lahat ng ito? I do understand. In fact, lahat ng programs, even nga ito ngayon na dapat nagkikita-kita tayo, ay natin nagagawa. However, if I may, maybe you can start organizing the club. And once everything is ready, you can start with your online activity, online session. But still, we need to instill in them ito mga routines and the values of the things that we are doing. Hindi po hadlang ang pandemya para matuto po tayo with these different sports opportunities or sports participation opportunities and the values that can be learned and can be gained from the activities that we are doing. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
Nakita mo ako
Okay.
dito. Wala ko sa nga. Ang botog na, nag-attendance baka ako. Nagsige pa mo paminaw.
Hello?
Ma'am Rowena Pestañas, gonna turn your microphone off.
Okay.
Okay na po,
So,
Ma'am
I
Arvin.
think, yes, I think this is it. I-share ko lang sa inyo. Meron din po kami tinatawag na usapang DepEd Sports. It's being managed by the School Sports Division and it's being aired in our SSD page, FB page, every Friday 6 p.m. But for tomorrow, it's sports marketing. We will be airing at 3 p.m. There's another one for those of you who can write, who love writing. You can send us your articles, your write-ups, your inspirational stories, and we can feature it in our online newsletter. We call it Sports Scribe. Okay? Para naman malaman ng buong mundo at buong Pilipinas na meron po tayong mga ganitong talento, mga ganitong istorya sa ating larangan, which is sports. Maraming salamat po. I'm good, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Marivic B. Toledo, our Supervising Education Program Specialist, School Sports Division, Bureau of Learner Support Services of the Central Office. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us here in the Division of Lanao del Norte. And for that, we would like to present this Certificate of Recognition for Recitation. Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, Region 10, School Division of Lanao del Norte. Certificate of Recognition is hereby awarded to Marivic B. Tulitol, Supervising Education Program Specialist, SSD BLSS Central Office, in recognition of her meritorious role as a resource speaker during the webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst pandemic, held as November 19, 2020. Given this 19th day of November 2020 at the Division Office, Tubod, Lanao del Norte. Signed, Edalberto L. Aplinaria, CESO 5. Congratulations, ma'am, and thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Sir Giovanni, and special thanks po to SDS Edalberto Aplinaria. Maraming salamat po sa pagkakataon na makapag-share po sa inyong division, Lanao del Norte. Thank you very much. It's my
Thank you,
pleasure.
ma'am. God bless.
Thank you, Mama Ribic. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, Ma'am Arlene. Thank you very much. I was looking for your name. Thank you very much, Ma'am Arlene. She's the one who invited me. She was the one coordinating with me. Thank you po, Ma'am Arlene.
I guess some of the coaches have some question or query or clarification. So, pwede siya, ma'am, kung may mga clarifications.
Yeah, sure, opo. Sure. Actually, I'm expecting questions because this is just a new program and I'm expecting mga clarifications. Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay,
Where
for
do I
your
see the question?
log into www.menti.com and use the code 2409439. Again, for your questions, log into www.menti.com and use the code 2409439. Or you can type your questions here at our comment box here at our meeting chat room. Dayanara, do we have questions from NT, ma'am?
If you don't have question, I have questions. Sige kayo.
Sino po yung may mga katanungan, kindly type your questions sa ating chat room. O di kaya sa comment box ng YouTube live stream natin.
May I know the profile of our participants? Are they teachers, supervisors, or mga school heads? Sir Giovanni, Ma'am Arlene?
They are all teachers. Some of them are teachers, coaches. We have also officials or officiating officials.
Okay. So probably some of them were already participants in our previous mga activities organized by the School Sports Division. So yeah. welcome sa mga questions po. If there are no questions, I would assume na intindihan. Wag namang hindi na intindihan. Ano po?
Yes po. Their silence means they understood everything you said, ma'am.
Yeah. But anyway, you can always reach me through my messenger, even yung aking work chat, account sa work chat. I'm always online. So if you have questions, feel free to ask me. Yun lamang po. I can even share the presentation if you want. Where do I send the presentation, Sir Giovanni?
Okay, Ma'am Arlene na lang po, ma'am. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
okay, Arlene. I'll send you my presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So, Sir John, question, sir?
We don't have any question for Ma'am Arlene, so I guess everybody understood the presentation of Ma'am Arlene, the discussion. So thank you so much, ma'am, in behalf of the Schools Division of Superintendent of the Division of Lanao del Norte. Thank you so much.
Opo. Just to add, if you're interested in the sports manual, we cannot give you copy yet of the manual because we're still in the process of finalizing. In fact, data gathering kami using our orientation. But later on, once it's final, we will be providing all the divisions and the regions with the hard copies as well as e-copies. And we can assure you that they're all okay na. Aside from the manual, we do have our videos that can be accessed as well in a particular site, but that will be given later on. Okay? So thank you at see you again. Thank you, Ma'am Arlene.
Likewise, ma'am.
Can I leave now, sir?
God
Yes,
bless.
ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, so we're now down to our open forum and our workshop. So kindly get ready. Requesting all our participants to get ready for our workshop. This will be handled by our education program supervisor in our SGOD, Dr. Arlene D. Manginsay. Ma'am Arlene?
Hello, Sir Jong. Hello, everyone. This is just a short workshop, and you're going to present this one tomorrow morning. This will be addressed to all the coaches or school heads in attendance. We're going to require all secondary schools to comply this one, and also maybe a representative in a district, any school in a certain district who can make this sample implementation plan. So what you're going to do, and we expect to have that tomorrow morning. We'll have the presentation. We'll be giving something, an award to those who can present their school sports implementation plan for this school year. So we have learned a lot this morning through our different speakers, Sir Jerry Krausos and Ma'am Maribik Tulitol, who were both from the central office. And we are very lucky that they did the call to really be with us in this webinar. And I would like to ask everyone, all the participants, this is also part of your, a sort of your output for this webinar. And we're going to base also the certificate, we'll be giving away a certificate of participation to all who join us in this 2-day webinar. This will be also one of our requirements So schools, again, sports must go on. It's not just sports will have it face to face, but we can do sports based on the sharing of the two speakers. Even we cannot see each other, or we are distant from one another. So what you're going to do is to make your action plan or implementation plan, or hingo ni Mama Rebecca ganina, work plan in the implementation of your school sports. So this is the template in for example, the school, no, Baloi National High School. So what event or sports event or discipline nga gihandle sa Baloi? Example, we have arnis and taekwondo. So, or rather, not taekwondo, wushu. Wushu ba to? No, so for that specific event for this year, what's the mga strategy nga atong buhaton wherein we can still have this, we can tap or we can reach out our learners on this. So, for example, for arnis, wala man tayo face-to-face sa atong mga bata. But the coach assigned to this specific event will make a plan on how to reach out his athletes o sa mga bata. For example, he's going to make a itinerary, sabi mo na ni Ma'am Maribik kaganina, you're going to make a standard, or you're going to set schedule or standard in your action plan, and what specific skills na i-develop sa bata on that particular day. Bisag na siya sa balay, for example, magbutang siya og 1 hour nga unsa ba iyang physical exercise, whatever. So unsa iyang time frame, dayon the coach also will have to reach out, sample lang, no, strategies nga mo reach out siya sa mga bata by also siguro isubay siya or unsay tan-awon sa coach ang ilang mga performances, or pwede ra siya magpatawag ba si coach, pwede siya sa bata in sa school nga kanang one-to-one lang, no, observing also the distance, the protocol of the health protocol nato karon, no. So then kanusa na siya, and who are the persons involved. Okay, so that will be your assignment for today. You can make it karon after we still have time, pero but we're going to present this one tomorrow. Okay, so is there any further question? Pangutana mga school heads in attendance or coaches regarding this action plan or implementation plan na atong himuon for this school year. Hello. Hello everyone. Klaro siya? Klaro ba ang atong himuon as our assignment? And you're going
Hello,
to
ma'am.
present
Good
this
afternoon.
tomorrow. Okay, sige sir. Sir Camilo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. About aning school implementation plan, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ang ibutang nato sa time frame ani, ma'am, is this is for school year 2020-2021, ma'am. Ang sa
Yes,
time
sir.
frame nato ani, ma'am.
Kana siya, sir. The whole year gid siya. The whole year gid siya, sir. Tibuok tuig gid siya. For example, o kaning October, or rather November, December, sa January, unsay mga activities ninyo nga himuon?
Uh,
In
what
that
I mean, ma'am,
specific,
is we will start this month of November, ma'am.
yes, sir. Sa November
Okay,
siya,
okay.
sir.
Okay,
Then,
okay. Thank you.
specific class lang siya, sir. For example, sa imong school, di ba? Chess imuha, no? So, unsay imuhang, unsay buhato na the implementation of chess dito sa imong eskwelahan. Or kung napay laing
Okay.
sports, nga kungan, kanang ma-implement mo sa imong school, okay po gihapon, no? Pero,
Okay, ma'am.
katulad siguro mga mag-specialize tab. For example, sa uban nga mga schools, katong sa Lapasaran, di ba na sila'y inyong table tennis man to, no? Naman si Miss Rowena Pistania, so kada siya gaman gihapon, gaman nato og plan kung saan nato ma-implement siya the whole year, ang ato ang different sports. Okay, wala pa man gitaroy kanhing na face-to-face contact, pero kung naamang gali, limit lang nato. For example, mag-assign ta ana nga day kinsa nga bata nga i-coach sa i-coach kinsa iyang
Okay, ma'am.
Okay na siya,
Ma'am,
sir?
salamat po. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Clarification pag yun sa uban. Other coaches and officials. We're expecting all secondary schools to present their action plan tomorrow and one from each district. Any school, usa lang ka representative for the elementary, usa ka representative kada district. And we would like to ask all secondary school to please present your action plan regarding the implementation of our school sports. Thank you. So, right before we going to end, I would like to ask Ma'am Joy Mogot for the link regarding our attendance tomorrow. And after Ma'am Joy, we'll have Ma'am Ivy Umawan for the Katami. Okay, Ma'am Joy.
Ma'am Joy Mugot, please come in. Ma'am Joy, please. Ma'am Joy.
For a while lang sa Sir John, for a while sa everyone.
Again, please be reminded of the task at hand. We're going to have a school sports development plan for the whole year 2020-2021. So all elementary schools, you're going to present your plan per district tomorrow, and all secondary schools will present their development plan tomorrow. That's the school implementation plan. School sports implementation plan.
Being ready na ka, Bing?
Yes, ma'am. Ako anak ko, Jong.
Okay.
Okay. So since Ma'am Joy kuan pa sa iyahang presentation, I'd like to ask Ma'am Ivy regarding the presentation of the Katami. Ma'am Ivy.
Sorry ako. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the participants of this webinar and our invited speakers. Okay, I just want to remind that the submission of Katami that will be tomorrow, no, after the conduct of this activity. This we have provided an online link. You just visit diped.in/sports webinar 2020. So this online feedback form is open until tomorrow at 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. So your feedback is very important, na, and certificate of participation shall be given after the submission of your katami. Okay, that's all for our katami. Please don't forget to submit your feedback. Thank you and God bless.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Ivy. Again, please be reminded of the link, that's steped.in/sports webinar 2020 for our Katame. Again, that's steped.in/sports webinar 2020 with no spaces for Katame. Again, no Katame, no certificate of participation.
Okay,
And
Sir
please be
John.
reminded again, yes, ma'am.
Uh,
Please be reminded again of the school implementation plan. That's for tomorrow. You are going to present it by district for the elementary and for all secondary schools. Yes, Ma'am Arlene. Please come in.
since we still have time, we are expecting that the participants can really give us the development plan to be presented tomorrow. So, mohangyo ko that they're going to really have this one and requiring them to present tomorrow but have to pass the hard copy in the division office. So we will require all schools to submit the hard copy of their development plan or action plan maybe next week. Tomorrow, the presentation, and we're going to ask the hard copy of their presentation of their action plan to be approved here. There is a division office. Thank you. And regarding the attendance for tomorrow, we will just post it na lang later kay kuan pa, ayos pa ang link. That this will be the attendance. They're going to register again tomorrow. Um, Yesterday, there are around 310 who registered. But at of this time, ang ningsulod lang sa atong MS team are 20 persons. Some of you said you are in the live stream. So we also recorded those who, even if nag-register sila, but it does not mean nga mauna to sila, nag-participate na. There are still some requirement. Atong tanawon ang naka-comment dito sa live stream nga comment box, tanaw nato, and then also the katami and the attendance, no, the registration. So mo to atong tanawon for as basis in giving certificate to all those participants in this webinar. Okay, Sir Jong?
Yes, Ma'am Arlene. Again, please be reminded of the school sports development or implementation plan that you're going to present tomorrow morning. You still have a lot of time this afternoon, so you can do it in your home or at your offices. And please be reminded of the classifications of the disciplines. You're going to present it by discipline. And of course, you're going to modify your programs amidst the pandemic that we're experiencing right now. You have to modify all your programs or your plans and abide by the health protocols set by the IATF and the Department of Health, as well as the Department of Education. So you can also include virtual meetings or virtual lessons with your athletes. And you can also monitor the progress of your athletes through virtual conferences. So we're giving time until tomorrow morning for you to make your school sports development or implementation plan for school year 2020 2021. So cooperation is needed, especially for elementary level, because you are going to present that per district, right, Ma'am Arlene?
Yes, Sir Jong. And we'd like to ask those who will be presenting their implementation plan tomorrow to send us ahead the copy. No, you can just siguro i-private message lang or direct message lang sa ako para ma-prepare daan, maandam daan or the sequence of the presentation para matanaw po namo kung kinsa ang nakahimo. So early tomorrow, until siguro we're going to give time, ample time until 9 o'clock tomorrow. Dapat nakasubmit na for the presentation na dayon. So we're going to facilitate the presentation. We still have speaker tomorrow. Sir Raymond in the afternoon, 1 p.m. So in the morning, all presentation lang of our output in this workshop that we're having. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you also to our speakers from the central office, Sir Jerry Krausos and Ma'am Maribic Tolito, and to everybody who participated in this the day one of this 2-day webinar. To everyone, to the SJOD family, thank you so much for helping this 2-day webinar. Salamat sa tanan.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Arlene. There you have it, our division's sports coordinator and our education program supervisor in SGOD, Arlene D. Manginsay. Again, tomorrow is the presentation of school sports implementation plan by secondary schools and by district for elementary level. Have a good afternoon. See you all tomorrow morning and for the second day of our webinar on sports as part of self-discipline amidst the pandemic. This has been your host, Giovanni Malazarte Pangasinan, saying thank you and have a good afternoon and a good night ahead. Sawadee ka.